Here. Hi, Facebook. How are you? Glad you could join us. We are going live here in our final discussion this week on addressing the three components of your health. Let me just sign on here on Facebook and Instagram. When you come on in, go ahead and wave at me so I can know you're out there. Say hi. I'd love to see you, know who's hopping on. I know that we're in our lunch session right now. Hey, Rodney25, good to see you. And go ahead and wave back here. We're in our final session today of our three-part series on addressing the three components of your health, and it's been very good. I've been getting great feedback from you guys and everything that everyone has been learning, so I don't want to delay in what we're speaking about today. Hi, sons and daughters. Haiti, good to see you. Glad you could join us. So of course, we're in our final section, our final discussion today on cognitive health. And by far, in all honesty, I think the cognitive health portion that we speak about when we're addressing the three components of our health is one by far that is not truly addressed enough, and it's not really spoken about enough. So we're going to get right into it. So I am Dr. Elisee. I'm a board-certified family medicine physician. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Cornerstone Medical Group here in Coral Springs, Florida. And as a physician, pastor's kid, wife, and mom, I've come to realize to be healthy and well, you have to address more than your physical health. That is why I help men and women reconnect their physical, spiritual, and cognitive health so that they can bring satisfying wholeness to their lives daily. And we're going to get right into our discussion. I want to say hi here to Evelyn Unbreakable Nora Luce. I see you, Evelyn. You are unbreakable, surely. Go ahead and wave everyone else when you come in, and let's get into our discussion. So first, we said the three components of health. One is your physical health. And yes, a lot of times we do a great job talking about our physical health. You're coming to your doctor's office, you're getting labs, you're just really doing what you physically see is necessary. We spoke about last week our spiritual health and that necessity to fill in the God hole that's inside of all of us, how creation needs to be connected to their creator. And that's what really feeds us. It feeds us our identity of who we are. If you missed that video, of course, you could hop back on and get the full discussion of that video because it was great. And finally, today we are speaking about our cognitive health, And when you hear cognitive health, I want you to just put in the comment line what you think about when you hear cognitive health, right? We're speaking about what that means to address cognitive health. I was asking a few people earlier today, and some of them started thinking about dementia. When they spoke about cognitive health, they thought about mental health disorders. Some people think that if they do not have mental health disorders, if they don't go to a psychiatrist, if they're not bipolar or schizophrenic, they don't need to address their cognitive health. And the reality of that, as we are discovering, is just not true. All of us need to address our cognitive health, and we should be doing so regularly in a healthy manner. So today we're going to talk about the three things that we really need to be on the lookout for, we need to be mindful of, and things that can boost our cognitive health. So what is our cognitive health? So our cognitive health has everything to do with our mental health. And I know that there's a stigma when we speak about mental health. We're not talking about anyone being crazy, but the reality is that our brains are constantly functioning consistently and throughout the day, pretty much nonstop. Really the only time that we are getting a break in our brain functioning, and that's not even truly a true break, is only the times that when we're resting and we're sleeping. And many of us who are peak performers, who are doing our thing, who are grinding, who's trying to get the next thing, we have cut back in our hours of actual great restorative sleep. Someone said here, cognitive health refers to the health of the brain and its overall function. Yes, Jamie Orchids, I love it. That's exactly it. So how do we protect our cognitive health? I didn't understand the necessity of cognitive health really two places. First, when I was at the University of Florida, go Gators, and studying in undergrad, there was a mentor that I was, who's a physician as well too. He's now passed away, Dr. Domon. And one of the things that he mentioned to me was the necessity of when I am studying, when I am really at the point of my exams and midterms, that's the time that I most need to be exercising. And I couldn't understand it. So of course I was an undergrad. I read this article about the effects of ginkgo biloba, taking it and how it could increase your memory. And if any of you are in the medical field, you know organic chemistry could be a killer. So literally, I would make sure every single day I was taking ginkgo biloba. And it wasn't until later that I read that full study that I learned that what ginkgo biloba does, it just dilates the blood vessels in the brain and allows more blood flow to the brain. So what we're doing essentially is we're increasing blood flow to the brain that helps cognitive health. Well, something else does that you and I can take care of. And this goes back to what Dr. Domore was saying. One of the best way we could boost our cognitive health is exercising. When we exercise, there's increased blood flow to the hippocampus. The hippocampus is the part of the brain that allows for the memory. It allows for the memory. So that's what allows us to remember things. So that's one of the first ways that we can go ahead and help your cognitive health, to support your cognitive health. So exercising increases that blood flow to the hippocampus. Hippocampus is part of your brain, and that's the part that does the memory. So those of you who are studying, my students out there who are watching my Tuesday Transformers, who are students who are dealing with those midterms and those finals, we're in December right now, this is when you want to be exercising regularly and consistently the most. And truly, this is something that I need to do more. Right around the holiday time is where I fall back on that, and I need to get back to it, because I have noticed even for myself that I'm kind of delayed. I'm not as sharp as I used to be. It's like my brain just feels like it's on overload. And if your brain feels like it's on overload, then that sometimes is an indication that, hey, you're not addressing your cognitive health the way that you should. So that's one thing. We address our cognitive health. So again, cognitive health is not just simply memory. Cognitive health, the way that Jamie said it here earlier, I'm going to scroll back to see exactly what she said, because I think it was great. It refers to the brain and its overall function. And there's different things that affect the function of our brain. One of those things that can a lot of times have a long-term effect, so this is the number 2, is ongoing sadness. A lot of times we speak about depression. A lot of times we speak about some type of emotional trauma. We speak about PTSD. But we don't ever really talk about someone just being sad. And, you know, life comes like that. It's the highs and lows. In Creole, they say, la vie en dit en aller, va dire qui côté la menel. You know, it says, life says, let's go. It doesn't say where it's going to take you. So naturally living life, it's difficult. It's hard. You have ups, you have downs. And a lot of times people ignore those down moments, or they ignore those points where they're sad. They go on Facebook, they go on our social medias, they're using those platforms to just do whatever they can to ignore what sadness or what is causing them their depression. Some people will go as far as going to the doctor, and some doctors, unfortunately, they'll just quickly give you a prescription, some type of antidepressant that will just go make that thing go away, or actually not truly make it go away, but make you not feel the effects of it. But that's not addressing it. That's not getting to the core of the problem. So the second thing that you and I must do as it relates to our cognitive health, we have to make sure we are addressing sadness. We are addressing depression. Can you guys put that in the comment line for me? Because I think that's one of the biggest things that we don't do. We need to address any sadness. And that's okay. We're not always going to be 100% all the time, because we're human. That's just the reality of it. We have to address sadness. And the way that we address sadness is, for some people, it's counseling. For some people, it's going back into that spiritual health that we spoke with when we're talking about knowing our identity, knowing the promise is higher and stronger than the problem. That's all of that. Some people, it's addressing the sadness is that they may need to start thinking about maybe a career rejuvenation, changing your career. A lot of people are staying at jobs that really are depressing them, that are sad. So, scale that out. See what options that you have. If that's the thing and the source of that sadness, the source of that depression, that's very important that you go into that. The other thing that we could do in the necessity of addressing our cognitive health as it deals with something that's making you sad, something that's making you depressed, is the goal setting. Goal setting, whatever it is, the most important thing that you and I must do is that we cannot ignore Cannot put on a strong face. We can't put on our big girl draws or big boy draws, as they say. We have to address our sadness and address those depressions and address it correctly. And one of the best ways that we could address our sadness or depression is mindful meditation. Someone says, what are the risks of cognitive health and not addressing them? So a lot of times when I mentioned earlier, when we speak about cognitive health, a lot of times people are thinking about dementia. So we know that a lot of the things as it deals with our brains and neurologically, there's a lot of information that we just don't know. We're still trying to get ahead of it and still understand it. But one of the things that the literature is saying very clearly, that they have found people who are overall stressed for the majority of their lives, individuals who are under a great deal of depression that goes unaddressed, that has that long-term effect, they are the ones that they're noticing who have these earlier signs of dementia, who have these earlier signs, and maybe just a very light, a casual association with Alzheimer's disease. And I think that honestly, as medicine continues to grow and as we continue to learn new things, we don't have all the answers, but we do know that the literature is continuing to mention the need for mindful meditation, the need for having those points where we rest our brain in order for us to avoid some of these early Alzheimer's, early dementia symptoms that a lot of people are saying. So I hope that answered your question. And really now, our last thing and most important thing that we could really do when it comes to addressing our cognitive health is called mindful meditation. And this kind of goes hand in hand when we speak about sadness and depression. We have to be mindful of what it is that is going on in our day, what it is that is a stressor for us, and there's a necessity to have quiet time. Any of you who have children, you'll remember and know, and even some of you may remember for yourself, that time when that child is spazzing the most, my 5-year-old, that's the time where he just needs to rest his brain. And one of the best ways of doing that mindful meditation that we speak about here in the office, and that a lot of the patients have found it to be very beneficial for them, is actually going out in nature, turning off all the extra stimulus, turning off that phone, turning off the social media connection, turning off all those extra stimulus and stimuli that are there, that are just impacting your brain, impacting your mind, going into nature. If you're in South Florida, it's really the best time to do it because it's not too cold. Going out into nature, taking it all in, and just being at one with your thoughts, recognizing those things that are coming up in your brain that you're overthinking. Sometimes, a lot of times when when we're not doing this mindful meditation regularly, a lot of people end up having insomnia. So their subconscious is thinking about what's going on and what's bothering them. Our brain, the way that God has created us and the way that we're wired, we have to address whatever is bothering us. And it's the same thing that happens in our body. Sometimes a patient will come in and say, hey, I can't understand why my blood pressure keeps going high. And there's a reality: when someone is angry, their blood pressure is going to go high. Why? Because it's all connected. It's all connected. And the same thing is true for us, and the need for mindful meditation, the need to address whatever it is that seems to be just going on in your mind that you're thinking about all the time. There is a need for mindful meditation so that you have that time to address it. And what I like to tell my patients is, even the ones who especially have insomnia, that you take that time, you give your brain, you allow your brain that time to say, hey, this is going on. I have a solution. Great. I don't have a solution. Hey, put a pin in it. And then this is where we take into our spiritual health. We remember the promise is greater than the problem. We still have that hope. And then we do, I'm giving you a little secret here, what we do in the office, we do gratitude practices. We do our gratitude practices, because once you begin to do your gratitude practices more, then you'll begin to really see and really just balance your brain out of just, hey, there's a lot of things that are still going right. So that is it for our discussion today. I want to say hi to C Tanis 22 who came on. And yes, C Tanis, it is easier said than done. It is, but you know what? It's the same thing like riding a bike. The more that you're doing it, the more that you're shutting yourself shutting yourself off from certain things, the more that you're keeping margin in your day. I put that post about that procrastination. The more that you put margin in your day, the more that you'll be able to get into this rhythm and this routine of truly, truly being able to address your cognitive health, whether it be through mindful meditation, whether it be through the exercise that we mentioned, and truly, truly, most importantly, if there isn't anything else that you remembered, the need to address depression and sadness beyond a pill and get to the roots of what's going on so it doesn't have that long-term effect and you have truly a long-term solution. So Tani's, I hope that answered your question. I want to say hi to Damien1EN. Thank you for joining. I want to say hi to Highly, hear this. Oh, Highly Reimbursable. Thank you for joining. Zerofo Choo Choo. Good seeing you. I want to wave. Jamie Orchids with the great thoughts. Lena_something. Good seeing you. Bell Nurse Anna. Yes, we see your picture, Bell Nurse Anna, and truly you are a Bell Nurse Anna. I want to say hi to here, Tyson_love. Good seeing you. Glad you could join us. SND, Haiti, Sons and Daughters. Rodney25. I want to say hi to Edwidge, Esther, Jean-Claude, Evelyn, Unbreakable, Norluz, Tanya Russo, Jean-Jacques, the future governor of Maine. Yes, the future governor of Maine. I've been hearing great things. I've been following you, and I think you're going to do an amazing job. So that is one of the best things that you can do. I'm so glad that we are able to hop on, guys. And truly during this time of the year where sadness tends to seep in, where depression tends to kind of find its way into our lives. Yes, it is the most wonderful time of the year, but for many people, this is the most difficult time of the year. Make sure you're addressing those things, Tuesday Transformers. And if you feel like this video is going to be beneficial to someone else, then please go ahead and share it with them. See you guys next week. Take care. Bye.